Welcome to a deep dive into how to totally nail that purchasing manager interview.
That's right. We're going to dissect RoleCatcher's career and interview guides.
Not just for generic tips.
We're going to give you the edge that other candidates are missing.
Yeah, so using these insights will give you a real leg up in your interview.
Absolutely.
First, let's actually talk about RoleCatcher's AI.
Okay.
This thing analyzes job descriptions.
Yeah.
To pinpoint the exact skills and keywords that employers want to see. It's not just basic stuff, though.
No, it goes deeper than that.
It uncovers the hidden requirements that really make your application stand out.
Yes, in today's job market, it's not just about having the right experience.
You have to know how to say it.
Exactly. You have to articulate it in a way that works for recruiters and for those applicant tracking systems.
Oh, yeah, the ATS.
RoleCatcher's AI helps you do just that, so your resume and application really get noticed.
So it's like helping you speak the language of the algorithms.
Exactly.
And if you want to take it even further, there's RoleCatcher's Copilot AI, which actually tailors your resume and cover letter.
Wow.
It even lets you practice your interview answers with AI feedback.
That's incredible. It's like having a personal coach helping you.
Yeah, it's like having someone who analyzes your responses and tells you exactly what to improve.
It's like fine-tuning your approach to match the specific role and company.
It gives you a huge advantage.
It really does.
Now let's get into the real prep, the questions themselves.
Okay, let's do it.
And we'll start with one that trips a lot of people up.
Okay.
Can you describe your experience in negotiating contracts with suppliers?
This one sounds simple,
It does.
but it's about way more than just listing the deals you've made.
Okay.
It's really a chance to show off your strategic thinking, your communication skills, and how you build those win-win partnerships.
So it's not about bragging.
Not at all.
It's about showing how you approach negotiation as like a team effort.
Exactly. Choose an example that shows off those skills. Maybe you had a time you had a really tough negotiation.
Or got an amazing outcome.
Yes, perfect.
What kind of follow-up questions could they ask about this?
Oh, they might dig deeper into your process.
Like how...
Like, what were the biggest challenges in that negotiation and how did you overcome them? Or they might ask, how do you make sure the contracts help your company's long-term goals?
So they're looking for the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Okay, here's one that's all about strategy.
Let's hear it.
How do you ensure purchasing decisions align with company goals and objectives?
This is a good one. This question is all about seeing if you understand the business as a whole.
Oh, interesting.
Not just procurement. They want to know you're not just focused on getting the lowest price,
Right.
but that you see how your decisions impact the whole organization.
It's like you're a strategic partner.
Exactly. You're not in a silo.
Right.
You get how purchasing fits into the company's overall strategy.
Right. So how do we show that?
Highlight times you've worked with other departments.
Okay.
Maybe how you worked with engineering to find certain materials.
Or with finance to stay on budget.
Exactly.
So they might ask, give me an example of a time you had to balance competing priorities when making a purchasing decision.
Absolutely. They want to see your problem-solving skills, how you weigh different things and make the right choice.
Okay, let's talk about leadership.
Okay.
This question is, can you describe your experience managing a team of purchasing professionals?
Here, they're looking at more than just managing tasks.
Okay.
It's about how you motivate and develop a team to make them high-performing and collaborative.
It's about your leadership style.
Exactly. Share examples of how you've mentored your team.
Like how you delegate and give feedback.
Yes, and how you empower your team to succeed. Did you delegate effectively? Did you give good feedback? Did you recognize their achievements?
Those are all important.
They really are.
So a likely follow-up is, what's your approach to motivating your team and creating a positive work environment?
Exactly. Be ready to talk about your leadership philosophy.
And how you create that collaborative, high-performing culture. Okay, here's one that's super relevant today.
Okay.
How do you stay up to date with industry trends and changes in the market?
They want to see that you're a lifelong learner
You're adaptable.
and proactive in keeping your knowledge current.
This is so important in procurement.
It is.
Tech regulations, global supply chains, everything's changing so fast.
Exactly.
It's not enough to just say you're interested.
No, you have to actually show how you stay current.
Give specifics.
Yes.
Like publications you read, conferences you attend,
Professional organizations you're part of.
online courses you've taken, even podcasts you listen to.
Exactly. Be specific.
So be ready for follow-up questions like, tell me about a recent industry trend that you've incorporated into your purchasing strategies.
They want to know you're not just listening.
Right.
You're actually using what you learn to make better decisions and improve things in your role.
So it's all about action.
It is. Welcome back to our deep dive. We uncovered some great strategies from RoleCatcher.
Yeah, and now we're ready to tackle some more of those interview questions.
Let's do it.
All right, here's one. Can you describe your experience working with international suppliers?
This one's all about navigating global sourcing,
Okay.
a key skill for any purchasing manager these days.
It's about knowing different cultures,
Being able to communicate across borders.
understanding how business is done internationally.
Exactly. It's a reminder that purchasing managers aren't just working within their own company.
They're part of a global network.
That's right.
So how do we show off that international expertise?
Even if we haven't traveled the world,
Right.
focus on the transferable skills.
Like what?
Have you negotiated contracts across time zones? Managed overseas logistics?
Vetted international vendors.
Even working with diverse teams within your own company can be relevant
So it's about showing you can adapt.
and overcome challenges in a global business environment.
Okay, so what kind of follow-up questions could they ask?
Oh, they might get specific.
Like,
They might say, what are the key considerations when working with suppliers in, say, China? Or what about working with suppliers in Brazil?
so we need to be ready to talk about the specifics.
Yes, cultural differences, logistical challenges, legal regulations.
Doing some research on the company's existing supplier network could really help.
It shows you've thought about their specific context.
Okay, here's another one. How do you balance cost savings with quality when making purchasing decisions?
The classic purchasing manager dilemma.
The eternal struggle.
It's about judgment, your ability to prioritize.
To make those tough trade-offs.
It's a constant balancing act.
So how do we find that sweet spot in our answers?
Don't say you always prioritize one over the other.
Okay.
Instead, show that you assess each situation individually.
Right.
Consider the company's needs, the products used, the long-term costs versus the short-term savings.
You're not just following a rule book.
No, you're a thoughtful decision maker.
Thinking about all the angles.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up questions could we get on this one?
Oh, they might ask for a real-world example.
Like?
Can you give me an example of a time when you had to choose between a lower-cost supplier and a higher-quality supplier?
Okay, so be ready to share a specific story.
Explain your reasoning, highlight how you gather data, weigh the pros and cons, justify your decision.
It's about the process, not just the result.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to something that's often overlooked.
Okay, what's that?
Can you describe your experience with inventory management?
Inventory management, the unsung hero of procurement.
This question's all about making sure you understand the principles.
Efficiency optimization, minimizing costs,
It's about finding that balance between having enough stock.
and not having too much tied up in inventory.
So what kind of experience should we talk about here?
Focus on your ability to forecast demand, analyze those inventory turnover rates.
Inventory turnover rates.
Yeah, you know how quickly inventory is sold and replenished?
Right. Right?
And talk about how you implemented systems to minimize waste from like obsolescence or spoilage. If you've used specific inventory management software, definitely mention that.
Like MRP systems.
Yes, exactly.
What about follow-up questions on this one?
Oh, they might ask about specific methodologies.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the just-in-time inventory method? Or how would you handle a sudden surge in demand for a certain product?
So we need to be ready to talk about different approaches.
And how we adapt to changing situations.
Okay, let's move on to something that's all about relationships.
Right.
How do you manage supplier relationships and ensure they meet performance expectations?
This isn't just about making deals.
Right.
It's about building strong partnerships.
It's about setting expectations, monitoring performance.
Addressing issues, working together.
It's about recognizing that suppliers are key to a company's success.
They're not just vendors.
Right. So how do we show we're masters of supplier management?
Share examples of how you've built those relationships.
Like how?
By setting up clear communication channels, setting performance metrics, having regular reviews, show that you can negotiate win-win solutions and resolve conflicts effectively.
So they might ask something like, tell me about a time a supplier didn't meet their obligations. How did you handle it?
Exactly. Share a story that shows your problem-solving skills and diplomacy,
You protected your company.
but maintained a good working relationship.
It's about being firm but fair.
An essential skill in supplier management.
Okay, ready to tackle another important aspect of the role.
Bring it on.
Can you describe your experience with contract management?
Contract management is the backbone of procurement.
This question is about understanding the entire contract life cycle.
From negotiation and drafting to execution and monitoring.
It's about making sure those contracts are solid.
Legally sound, protecting the company.
And implemented effectively.
That's all about the detail.
And understanding the legal side of things.
Absolutely.
So what kind of experience should we focus on here?
Talk about your ability to review and analyze contracts, negotiate good terms, ensure compliance.
Monitor performance, manage those amendments and renewals.
And if you've used any specific contract management software, mention that too.
They'll be looking for that attention to detail.
That ability to spot potential risks.
They might ask, what are some key clauses you look for when you're reviewing a supplier contract?
Or how do you make sure contracts are properly documented and stored?
They want to see you're thorough.
That you understand risk management.
And can protect the company's interests.
All connected.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second.
Okay.
This question's about juggling multiple things at once.
Okay, I like this one.
How do you prioritize purchasing projects and allocate resources effectively?
Prioritization, the never-ending challenge.
It's not just about purchasing, though.
It's about managing multiple tasks and deadlines.
In any role.
Exactly, it's about efficiency organization.
Making sure the most important things get done first.
They want to see you can think strategically and make those tough decisions.
How do we show we're pros at prioritization?
Share how you've used tools or methods to keep track of things, set deadlines, and allocate resources.
Should we talk about specific project management methodologies?
Yeah, things like the Eisenhower matrix or the Moscow method can really add structure to your answer.
Okay.
It's about explaining how you figure out what's urgent, what's important.
And factor in the impact deadlines and available resources.
Right, and be prepared for the curveball.
Like what?
They might ask, tell me about a time you had to completely change your priorities because of something unexpected.
That's a tough one.
It is. They're looking for flexibility, problem solving.
The ability to make good decisions under pressure.
Having a real example of how you handled that can be really impactful.
So we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
International suppliers, inventory management, prioritizing projects.
We're really starting to see what it takes to be a great purchasing manager.
It's not just about what you've done.
It's about how you've done it.
Showing those core skills that employers are looking for.
Exactly.
But we're not done yet.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. In the final part, we're diving into RoleCatcher's career insights to help you not just land the job,
but build a successful career in procurement.
I'm excited for this one. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into acing that purchasing manager interview.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, from AI tools to those tricky questions.
But now it's time to think bigger.
Yes, the big picture. Your career in procurement.
And we're using RoleCatcher's career guide to map it all out.
This guide is amazing. It really digs into career paths and development strategies.
It's all about understanding where this role can take you.
And the skills you need to really thrive long term.
Exactly.
Something that really stood out to me was their focus on continuous learning.
Oh, absolutely.
It's clear that in this field, you can't just stand still.
Things are constantly changing.
You have to adapt and evolve to stay ahead.
Technology, globalization, market trends.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It really is.
So what does RoleCatcher recommend for staying sharp and keeping our knowledge current?
They suggest a multi-pronged approach.
Like what?
Attending industry conferences and webinars.
To learn from the experts and hear about the latest trends.
Exactly. Pursuing professional certifications.
Show off our expertise.
On our commitment to growth.
Yeah.
Joining relevant associations.
To network with our peers and learn from each other.
It's all about tapping into that shared knowledge.
I love how they emphasize networking.
It's so valuable.
Building relationships with other professionals.
Not just to stay informed,
but to share best practices and even discover new opportunities.
Absolutely. Networking is crucial in any field.
But especially in procurement.
Those relationships with suppliers, vendors, and other stakeholders can make all the difference.
Speaking of opportunities, let's talk career advancement.
Where can a purchasing manager go from here?
What are the typical paths?
RoleCatcher outlines several possibilities.
Okay, like what?
You can move into management roles.
Like procurement manager or director of procurement?
Leading bigger teams and taking on more responsibility.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else?
You could specialize in a particular industry or category of goods and services.
So you become a real expert in your niche.
Exactly.
I was also really interested in the section on certifications.
Uh-huh.
It seems like getting certified can be a huge career booster.
It really can. It shows dedication and expertise.
The guide mentions a few prominent ones.
Like what?
the Certified Professional in Supply Management, or CPSM.
And the Certified Purchasing Manager, or CPM.
So if you're serious about moving up in procurement,
A certification is definitely worth considering.
it's an investment in your future.
That sets you apart from the competition.
Wow, this deep dive has been eye-opening.
We've covered so much.
From using AI to tailor our applications,
To strategically answering those tough interview questions.
to mapping out a long-term career path in procurement.
It's been a journey.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
RoleCatcher's career and interview guides have even more to offer.
They're packed with information and resources to support you every step of the way.
It's your secret weapon.
So as we wrap up, here's one final question for you to think about.
Okay.
What one thing will you do differently in your interview prep based on what we've discussed today?
It's a good question.
Will you try out RoleCatcher's AI Copilot to fine-tune your resume?
Maybe dive deeper into their career guide to research a specific area of interest.
Or start practicing those challenging interview questions with a newfound confidence?
Whatever you choose, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the tools to ace your next interview.
And build a successful and fulfilling career as a purchasing manager.
We're rooting for you.
Thanks for joining us, and best of luck in your job search.